All right, everyone. Welcome to the third, is that right? Yeah, third week of the Weirdo pool party box. We're tasting this guy, 2022 Botani Sierra de Malaga Moscatel is what we're tasting today. I'm gonna warn you now, I am pretty psyched about this wine. This wine, while I was prepping for this and just leading up to it, uh, this is kind of wine that reminds me why I love what I do. This is the kind of stuff that inspired me to realize why I love wine and I love introducing people to wine and why I love talking about it. Because this bottle contains so much in here. And we'll get to it and you'll see it. But just warning you, I may get a little geeky. I may get a little psyched.
Agreed. I just tasted for the first time. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And yeah, it's not only is the wine delicious, but there's an incredible kind of story behind it and where it comes from. It's all the context I'm going to build around this bottle tonight. Hopefully does justice to what exactly it is that you're drinking tonight. By the end of it, hopefully you have a lot more appreciation for what it is than just a delicious beverage, which is what it should be, which it is. So anyways, with that, I don't really have a whole lot of announcement today. The invoices for next month went out yesterday. So if you're joining us, please next month, let us know. If not, just joining us, just go ahead and pay the invoice. If not, just let us know or let me know so I can get that all set up. I don't have next month's box finalized yet. By the way, I'm coming up to DC tomorrow, and I'll be up there all next week, potentially longer. But depending on what happens this weekend, there's some wines that are in flux, so we don't know if we're going to land at the end of this month in time to be able to put the box together and all that. Either way, in case it is important to you, it's going to be one of those two boxes, and whatever doesn't make it is probably going to go to September. So what I'm thinking about is, it's the end of the summer, it's a road trip time. So I'm going to call it a grape American road trip, or the other 47 states, essentially. It's basically, and then also in the world of tariffs that we live in now, it's time to focus, maybe shine some light on all the other American wines that are not Washington, Oregon, and California. So there's going to be some little funky, weird ones that you may not expect. There's definitely going to be some Texas wines, Julia, Dan. But yeah, so it's going to be a fun box. So that's one possible potential. The other one is actually going to be a Central European box. And by Central European, I'm talking about Poland, Hungary, Czech, and Slovakia. Yes, Austria is a Central Europe. Yes, Croatia, Slovenia. Yes, but we've done Austria, we've done Slovenia, so I figure I'll focus on those countries. There's a lot of flux on what's happening with that as well. So August is going to be one of those two boxes. I just don't know which one it's going to be yet. And a lot of that is going to get solidified by the beginning of next week. So, but in case the theme matters, know that it's going to be one of those two things coming next month. And whatever doesn't, is not next month is going to be the month after. Anyways, that's pretty much the only announcement that I have, except for the organization that we're donating to is Food Rescue US. If you want to learn more about what they do, chat box is in the chat box. Or if you want to donate alongside 612 Wine Club. Any question about anything that I just went over before we get into the wine itself? Cool. In case you're just joining us now, we're tasting this guy. 2022 Botani Sierras de Malaga Moscatel is what we're tasting today. All right, start with the map. All right, so here's a map of Spain. So we're in Spain, in case it wasn't obvious. And where we are is in Andalusia, which is all the way in the southern tip of Spain. So all the way down here, right at that point in Gibraltar. Jerez, around the town of Cadiz, is where it is famous for sherry, right? This is where the sherry production happens. We've had wines from Montilla Moriles, right? The PX, the really sweet dessert wine that we had on the Thanksgiving box. That came from here. We've also had a dry still wine from here. But today, we're right here, Malaga and Sierras de Malaga. So there's a huge mountain range that runs through here. And for those of you who remember, I was here 2 years ago. I was doing a bike ride, right? Getting out to Almeria from starting from Granada. So this mountain range is what I rode, and that exactly mountain range is what runs through this area. So depending on where you are within this Malaga, whether you fall on either side along the coast or on the other side, but further inland you go, more mountainous it becomes. So Sierras just means the mountains, or it just means the foothills, hills. So in Spanish, so Malaga, and then Sierras de Malaga, it just means Malaga, so around the town of Malaga. And then Sierras just means there's a mountain range that comes here. And then all of that will become a lot more obvious in what we're talking about that once we get to later on. I have some really cool video that I want to show you guys, and you'll be amazed at where this wine comes from. But just to know that this is where it comes from. In case you are not familiar with the Malaga, it's probably best known as like a vacation destination, vacation spot for a lot of the Spaniards, as well as the rest of Europe. So a lot of people from UK, a lot of people from Germany were there. I saw them when I was there 2 years ago. But I know the rest of the Europe also vacations here quite a bit. And as you can imagine, I mean, it's right here at the tip in the south. There's the Mediterranean Ocean dumps out into the Atlantic. So it is, I mean, talk about turquoise blue water, sun-soaked beaches, really warm weather, dry. I mean, it's all the kind of what you want in a beach vacation kind of a place. So, but behind all of that, if you dig deeper, if you really kind of study the wine viticulture history here in Malaga, it goes way, way back. Like I mentioned, most of Malaga now is a vacation spot, but the viticulture history here is one of the oldest, in not only in Spain but in all of Europe. So it started it dates all the way back to the Bronze Age, essentially. 3,000 years ago, the Phoenicians brought Moscatel Alexandria from Alexandria in Egypt to Spain. Then the Greeks controlled the area, continued the viticulture, dating back to 600 BC. Then finally the Romans came, and then they rediscovered these kind of a mountainside. The Sierras de Malaga is planted to all these vines, and then expanded area, and then that all is what essentially started expanding, and then the viticulture really flourished in this area. In the 11th century, the Arab geographer wrote about this area, the mountains covered with vines, resulting in one of the most beautiful views in the world. And again, wait until I show you this video. This video, I watched it twice today because I was so in love with what I was watching in that video, but it will give you an overview of what this place looks like, and it's incredible. Originally, the production of wine was banned under the Moorish rules. In case you're not familiar with the history of this area, the Moors control this area, which are the Muslim civilization. So the alcohol was banned, prohibited in the area. But after seeing the potential of this area and then tasting the wine, they actually made an exception, and the rulers claimed the alcoholic drink was a medicine, that they actually consumed it as such, just to give you an idea of how much they were impressed with what was being produced in this region. The industry continued to grow through the centuries, and by the beginning of the 1800s, the wines of Malaga had become so famous that counterfeiting fraud was very common. Then, of course, the disease that we all know, phlox rot, essentially wiped out Europe, and Malaga and Andalusia was no different. In fact, it's said that the first discovery of phylloxera in Spain originated right here in the vineyard known as La Indiana, just 20 kilometers from Malaga. Just to give you an idea of it wasn't just an isolated viticulture area. It was a very much of a bustling kind of a trading and production area. So all that new vines came from the New World, landed in Malaga, and it started from here. It spread to the rest of Spain. At the time of the infestation, the vine coverage had reached 100,000 hectares, double the size of present-day Rioja, just to give you an idea of how big the viticulture was here. So Rioja, if you look at it, is here, right? That's about the size. And then it was twice as much as that. This is what covered all of Malaga, just Malaga. We're not even talking about all of Andalusia. We're just talking about this Malaga area. Was it twice as the vine coverage is just twice as big as the Rioja, to give you an idea of how big it was. And then, anyways, the phylloxera came, decimated area, hasn't quite fully recovered to its original heyday, but today is a small fraction of what it once was. Of what remains, the vineyards here is considered some of the most extreme and dangerous vineyards in all of Europe, with the steep slopes ranging up to almost 70 degrees. And yes, you heard that right, 70 degrees. Some of the most steep vineyards in Europe have terraces and are somehow like mechanized, like in Europe, like if you go to Mosul, right, they have those carts with the chains where they like bring up the grapes, they pick them. Here, it had remained exactly the way the Romans had tended to these vines. So none of these vineyards are actually terraced. So you're still working on this completely steep slopes with absolutely no terraces and people just coming up and down. Obviously, mechanization is completely impossible and everything is done by hand and with the help from mules and horses and different animals. Soil here is also extremely harsh and poor. Most of it is a decomposed schist or slate. So, I mean, if you know anything about geology, so slate is basically these sheeted kind of a rocks, so they kind of slip off very easily. So making it super slippery, again, very dangerous. Some of the most extreme areas to make wine. It also gets really extremely hot here in the summertime, but obviously, like I mentioned, it's in the mountains. The altitude of these vineyards, it reaches around 700 meters, which is about 2,200 feet. Help the grapes maintain its kind of natural acidity and help it fresh. So before we get into, actually, let me talk about who makes this wine first. So the gentleman who makes this wine, he's one half. This is a collaboration between this gentleman, Jorge Ordonez. So Botani's name is a winery. But underneath it, if you look at the label, it actually says Jorge Ordonez and Company. So this is Jorge Ordonez. Botani is one of his wineries, a very well-known Spanish importer. He is very, very famous. He's won many, many awards as an importer, as a wine personality. He founded a winery in 2004 to revive the traditional winemaking tradition of his hometown. He's from Malaga. I didn't know this, but from what I read, Botani was the first producer to ever produce the first dry Moscatel made in Spain in modern times. So back in the days, the wines of here in Malaga were made into these dry white wines, but it had kind of stopped, and the Moscatel, there was 100% Moscatel that's usually made here, or a lot of his Moscatel is actually used as a blending grape into a really sweet dessert wine called also Malaga, namesake wine, Malaga. But Botani is the first one to kind of bring back resurrect, essentially, the tradition of Malaga's kind of this historic mountain. This is a collaboration project between Jorge and Ales Crusher, if you know that name. Ales Crusher is a legendary Austrian producer. They make incredible wines. Anyways, Jorge was born and raised in Malaga, managed the family's wholesale wine business before arriving in the 1987. He had a vision of introducing US and the world to the traditional wines of his homeland, but that was made with dry farmed indigenous varieties. But then he realized that at the time in 1987 in America, the reputation of Spanish wine was actually quite terrible, for a good reason. And then he realized that he had to, there's a big work cut out for him, both in terms of U.S. consumers' mind as well as Spanish producers' mind. So at the time, U.S. was basically saturated by French, California, and Italian wines. Spanish wines was thought to be kind of low quality and cheap. But also in Spain, it was all about coming out from the Franco's rule. It's an impact on agriculture and wine industry. The industry was completely run by bulk production and industrial co-op system rather than producing fine quality wine. So many producers are kind of also ripping up kind of all these indigenous varieties to replant them with more productive and popular international varieties. I mean, this is a trend that happened all across the globe. Spain was no different. So he had to kind of convince all the Spanish producers, these homeland producers, to preserve the ancient vineyards, planted to indigenous varieties, choose to work with low-yielding varieties, and then let go of potentially making more money by planting international varieties, which is a risk. But he took the risk, and he was one of the first Spanish importers to boldly kind of challenge the international palate and introduce the U.S. to the world of fine Spanish wines. So all the names that we now associate with Spanish wines, like Albarino, Godello, Ribera del Duero, Chacoli, these things were, I mean, still quite exotic in names of a lot of normal, quote unquote, most mass US consumers. But those things were all pretty much introduced by Jorge and some others as well. But Jorge is one of the very first pioneering importers to bring these things into US. So without Jorge, we wouldn't know about a lot of these Spanish wines that we know of it now. Anyways, decades later, he now imports wines into US. He also owns Jorge Ordonez Group, which is a collection of 8 wineries spread across all around Spain, but all with the one commonality is that they're all focused on making traditional wine from old vineyards planted to indigenous varieties in a very small, unheralded, kind of less popular regions. So he often partners and collaborates with other producers around the world, and then helps them, brings them to Spain to make these wines. And that's the case here. Botani, this particular wine, is a collaborative project between Jorge Ordonez and Aleš Krasher from Austria. So now, this wine. Oh, I want to show you some pictures here. So, sorry, I should have shown this earlier, but just to give you an idea, this is what the vineyards look like. This is what the land looks like. All these little green things are actually vines. So imagine going up and down this thing. Like, as you can see, none of this is terraced. This is exactly where these vines come from. These are the kind of places that people work, which makes you think, like, why the hell would anybody decide to make wine here? And it's, after all, it's a project of dedication, project of love, and project of trying to tell a story, right? I mean, these vines were planted here, brought here, 3,000 years ago, and then went through so many different civilizations. And it's basically like a little piece of history at the bottom, so to speak. Here's another picture of a kind of a horse or donkey in the vineyard. But you'll see a lot more of this in the video that's I'm about to show you, which is incredible. But anyways, let me get out of this thing first for now. How do I go? Let me talk about what this wine is. So this is 100% dry farm Moscatel Alexandria, planted between 1908 and 1930 on those steep slope sides that I mentioned, mountain sides. Planted on solid decomposed slate, mixed with quartz. There's not much organic matter here whatsoever. So these are very, very much of an old vine, really deep roots to kind of get into it. By the way, in case you're wondering, Moscatel Alexandria is one of the oldest kind of Vitis vinifera, the original Vitis vinifera. So the oldest clone worldwide of Muscat variety is Moscatel Alexandria. There are many different Muscat clones, so Moscatel Alexandria, Moscatel Tonel. So not all Muscat is the same, but this particular Muscat that we're talking about, Moscatel Alexandria, It is thought it is the only one cultivated extensively around Alexandria, Egypt. Then it's brought to the rest of the world, to Europe. But it is one of the world's only remaining quote unquote ancient variety, meaning it has not been crossed with any other variety. So again, it's a piece of history that you guys are tasting today. They are all hand harvested on the 1st of August, making this the earliest harvest in mainland Europe. As I mentioned, this place is very hot. So only way that you can kind of preserve freshness and acidity and all of that. Not only that, you have to do it on the mountainside in a place like this, but they're harvested early enough to kind of have that proper balance of sugar and acid. Grapes are chilled in a cool chamber for 24 hours before pressing. I saw this when I was working at Early Mountain. Ben used to do this with some aromatic white varieties like Petit Manseng. It basically just giving the grapes like a few hours to kind of chill it all down before pressing it and fermenting it helps preserve. This is how the way it was explained to me by Ben. It helps preserve all the aromatics, all the kind of a delicate aromatics and the flavors in expressive grapes. So oftentimes when you're working with these kind of really floral, delicate, aromatic varieties, the producers will put them through this kind of a pre-pressing chill. So yeah, so grapes are coming into the cellar and they're essentially chilled in a refrigerator overnight before pressing. Then it's 50% destem, 50% whole cluster. So there's some stem inclusion there, but not during the fermentation. Gently pressed in a pneumatic press. Then they cold settle it overnight, just kind of settle out all the lees and different things. There's spontaneous fermentation in neutral French barrels, and then aged on lees for 6 months with a bi-weekly botanage, which is a stirring of the lees, just to kind of build out the body, fill out to build some layers. And then I could not find information whether this wine is filtered or fine, but I'm going to bet this wine did go through some filtering, just looking at how translucent this wine is. But across the all board with Jorge's wines, just a minute touch of sulfites at the end. All right. So sorry if that seemed rushed. I was trying to get through all this information because really, this is what I really kept to. Really what I want to show you today is this video that I'm about to show you. It is a little bit long. I want y'all to, I know you all been sipping on this wine, but I want you to sip on your wine while you're watching this video and looking at where this wine came from. And quite frankly, if this video doesn't inspire awe and curiosity and give you deeper appreciation of what you have in your glass, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what would. Like I said, I had to watch this twice earlier today. Yeah, I was just mesmerized by what this was. And it's a bit long. It's a total of about 9 minutes of what we're about to watch. I'm gonna fast forward in the middle. I'm gonna skip about 4 minutes of it. But I do think it's worth every minute of it. I'm gonna put it in the chat box if you want to go and catch the other 4 minutes of it later. But for now, I want you all to watch this. Oh, sure. Sorry. Hold on. There you go.
Do they have editors in Spain?
Right. All right. Yeah, I know that was long. I know there's a lot of some repeat images in there as well, but god damn it, I don't know. Like I almost lost my goddamn mind this afternoon watching that video. It's like, some of you missed me talking about this at the beginning, but uh, I don't know. Like I got like watching a video like that, learning about a place like that, or even better, visiting a place like that and seeing it in person and see how it's made is what exactly gets me all jacked up about wine. It's exactly what makes me feel good about what I do. Like my job, I've always thought has been to kind of build more context around wine. And that's what I've always tried to do and what I'm trying to do here, essentially. To be kind of an ambassador for these artisans and places and certain styles of wine and certain bottles. But it's so easy for a bottle of wine to be like a commodity product, right? Like you walk down an aisle in a wine store, there's hundreds and thousands of bottles, and it's just one of many. And in the middle of all of that, it's just like, just layering on this context of where it comes from, knowing someone from this region after years of working in wine, decide to go back and finally realize his dream of like producing wine from his hometown and intentionally chose to work in a place like that. I mean, that's not, you don't work there to make money, right? Like, and we'll also talk about how much this wine is, which will shock you when we get there talking about it. It's like you're doing all that work to charge what this bottle is charged for. I mean, all that is just is the labor of passion, um, and just seeing all those people bend down, pick up those grapes. Imagining them doing it on August 1st, in the peak of heat of the summer, working on those slopes. I mean, to me, knowing all of that and seeing all of that gives me so much value. Also made from one of the only uncrossed varieties, the oldest Vitis vinifera that's still left. They were planted in vineyards like that by the Romans from thousands of years ago. I mean, all that history, all that vision, all that work, all of that to me is what makes this bottle beyond what is just a liquid in a bottle. And that's exactly what I've always wanted to do. Like that's what I always try to do with wine. And like watching shit like that and being able to show that to people, to show that like this is not just some wine in the bottle, even though we're calling it, pool party wine box. Yes, you can drink it just like without thinking about it. But when you dig under the hood, you see so many layers of what this is. And if that doesn't make this wine taste better, if this doesn't make you appreciate it more, I don't know what it will. It's just hopefully all that will inspire people to kind of look at wine in a different way. It's not just they're looking at it as just a commodity product, but something that people care about. Like there's story being told with this bottle is essentially what I'm getting at. And my job is to make sure that story gets told, and hopefully I did some justification to that, to the hard work that went into making this file. So, anyways, well, on that note, let's actually taste the wine.
It's the labor they put into that was just incredible. I can't believe they're like hand harvesting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're in there
It's just
bending down,
wow.
picking all that shit. I mean, this is backbreaking labor, right? All for what? It's the price of this wine will also shock you. You get there. So, anyways, let's taste the wine. All right, who wants to take the appearance?
I can do it for once.
All right.
I call this clear.
The wine is clear.
Um, It's just calls like a light intensity medium.
Yeah, not huge amount of color. Um,
But
what would you call that?
I got a lot of like warm light in here, but I call this like just like a good lemon.
Yeah, I'll call this like a medium lemon, maybe like light gold. I would actually go to light gold. I would call this medium lemon is what I call this. Any other observations?
Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah, no sediments, no bubbles. Pretty translucent. Like I said, we want to bet this wine. There's a little bit of filtering, but couldn't verify. All right, you get to pick the next person for the nose.
I'll jump down the list to Catherine.
All right. I actually was going to volunteer. So this
Oh,
works
excellent.
well. I know. This wine is clean. This wine is sound.
Yep.
You know, I was thinking maybe medium plus, but it's really settled squarely at medium for me.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm getting it like right around here.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know, 3 inches off the rock. So yeah, high end of medium, low end of medium plus is kind of where I'm at this point right now. All right. What do you got?
Definitely a little bit of, first off, honeysuckle for me is
Yeah,
big.
for sure. So when we're talking about floral, and Muscat in general is a very floral aromatic variety, and this is not even the most aromatic of muscats. There's some muscats out there that are just punch you in the face, and that's quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of muscat. I in fact despise muscat. That's why part of the reason I was also so impressed and surprised how much I like this wine. But yeah, when we're talking floral wine, like this is the kind of floral that we're talking about. But yeah, to Catherine's point, like honeysuckle all over the place. I guess some jasmine here as well. It's definitely some floral component here for sure. All right, what else we got?
Definitely a little lemon for me.
Yeah, ton of lemon, really like citrusy, lemony. For
Yeah.
sure.
I don't know. Ooh, preserved lemon. Interesting. I buy that.
Yeah, I mean, there's all that botanage that happened, bi-weekly botanage. So there's some of the savoriness going on. So to me, it's like less of a preserve. Like there's a little bit of that like savory, like that lazy cheese rind kind of a quality going through here, through all that botanage. So that may be kind of what Julia is talking about. But the fruit quality here to me is very fresher. So it's lemon for me, lemon peel, lemon flesh. What did you get, Kelly?
There's something herbaceous, but like
Yeah, for sure.
I can't really place it. It's a little bit of the green bell pepper for me.
Okay.
But I think I'm not putting into words what I'm smelling.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that once we get to that part, and that's an excellent call. That kind of herbaceous quality is very typical of Muscat. But let's keep going on the list from the top. Do you have any stone fruit, any tropical fruit?
No, not really. Maybe a nectarine, maybe.
Maybe nectarine. I get some tropical fruit here.
Do you?
I get a touch of like that lychee kind of quality to it. But mostly still all this really citrus and the floral with a touch of, I mean, I think there's a ton of, like I could get convinced there's a bit of a nectarine or peach kind of a thing. But yeah, definitely for me, there's a little bit of a lychee kind of a thing. Any red fruit, black fruit?
No.
Nope. Character fruit?
No.
Is it fresh? Is it underripe? Is it overripe?
It's fresh.
Yeah, to me, it's very fresh, very ripe. Nothing overripe, nothing underripe. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like heat of the season kind of freshness. Now, let's talk about this. So you had mentioned some herbaceousness, some herbal, something like this. And then to you, you're saying you're getting some of this kind of piercing green bell pepper kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Muscat in general, and particularly also, and this didn't soak on it, but this also 50% of the wine was pressed with a stem inclusion. So Muscat in general is a pretty high in phenolics, polyphenolics. So a lot of that kind of like, so if you, some of the muscats, particularly the really ripe muscats, if you hang it for a long time on the vines, and then if you ferment it with some stem inclusion, oftentimes muscat is very easy to find some phenolic bitterness in muscat, just because it's so high in phenolics to begin with. So the fact that you were getting some of that kind of like a herbaceous phenolic quality on here is completely 100% correct with the muscat. Oftentimes you will find some level of that kind of savory, stemmy kind of quality to muscat. So like to me, it's not as what do I say, in your face as like a green bell pepper, but there's definitely some like green, like stemmy kind of like maybe licorice, but yeah, like there's some sort of like plant material kind of a thing going on here. And I
Yeah,
think that's
even a
kind of,
little tomato vine, but it's
yeah,
muted. But it's muted. Yeah.
exactly. Tomato vine, some sort of that kind of viney, leafy,
Yeah.
stemmy kind of quality to it, for sure. Very common with a muscat, and that's kind of what gives muscat like the the appreciate I do of muscat is that yes, there's all this abundant aromatics, right? The flower, the tropical fruit, citrus fruit, all this, but layered with all this kind of savory kind of quality as well, which gives it more complexity, more balance, obviously. Any spice, any rockiness?
Yeah, I think there's a little kind of wet stones.
Absolutely. Ton of minerality running through here, for sure. I mean, again, maybe just knowing, I mean, you guys saw it in the video, all the slaty kind of slates that are in there, but the soil here is completely, like, there's no organic matter here whatsoever. Everything is just kind of, it's completely infertile. So, and the fact that it's planted in those rocky kind of soil is what, maybe the power of suggestion, but to me, yeah, there's definitely that kind of slaty, again, wet stone, there's a ton of minerality stone that's running through here for sure. Any secondary, any tertiary?
No.
No. Great. This is very much a primary driven thing. I did mention this thing real quick. I mean, the Botani gives it a little bit of that kind of cheesy, easy cheese rind kind of thing going on. Perhaps that's what's leading Julia to think this is a preserved lemon. But I do think there's a touch of that going on here. But really, what we're talking about is a very fresh, very ripe, floral, fruit-driven citrus and other fruit, tropical fruit-driven with some of that kind of a phenolic, stemmy, herbaceous quality and the stoniness for sure. All right, excellent job. You get to pick the next person for help.
Okay, great. Anyone want to do it? No. All right. Coming to you, Julia. Sorry.
No worries, we're always game. Need more wine. Okay.
All right. This wine is dry.
Wine is dry. This wine is in fact bone dry. It's you may think this wine is sweet, and I will oftentimes get people who taste dry muscat to be like, this wine is so sweet. It's like, yes, there's shit ton of flour, there's shit ton of flour and fruit, but it's bone dry. Yeah, there's no sugar. Acidity.
It's like medium plus.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not great at acid, but a lot of context clues tell me this is medium plus.
Serious acidity. I mean, it's like, I feel it back here still.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely medium plus here. Again, this is what makes it amazing. Like you get all this ton of fruit and flower. You think it's gonna be sweet and not really refreshing, but like there's this acidity that just comes through and it balances it all out. Ugh, that's exactly what makes it delicious. But yeah, medium plus. Tannin, we don't have to talk about that. Alcohol.
I would say medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think this is?
Like 12.5 maybe.
That's what it drinks to me as two, like 12.5, 13, somewhere in there. Oh, 14. It's not unheard of for Muscat to reach 14%. I mean, it's naturally really high in sugar. That's part of the reason why Muscat makes it such a great dessert wine candidate. But yeah, I don't know if I really believe that 14. This wine does not feel like 14% to me. Does not drink like 14%. Does not feel like 14%. I don't know if anybody else feels this wine is that hot, but I do not think it's 14%. But yeah, to me, this feels right around like 12, 5, and 13. Like Dan was saying, like a medium. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah. Body.
Feels medium to me.
I
Got
think
some weight too, right?
yeah, I was gonna say it has some weight to it. I would say medium to, I mean, maybe a low medium plus.
Yeah, to me, this is leading into medium plus territory here. It's got some weight, it's got some viscosity, it's got some weight.
Yeah.
Again, the wine that has had naturally is high in sugar like this, it's gonna get, and if this 14% is actually true, like there's no way you're gonna get a light body wine. It's just what's gonna happen with that much sugar and that much alcohol. So yeah, to me, this is, I'm gonna call it some medium plus as well. It's got some weight. Moose, we don't have to talk about flavor intensity.
It's medium to medium plus. I don't get it too. I don't know. Let me try again.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this a medium plus. I don't think this wine is shy at all. I mean, to me, it's very expressive. Yeah, there's nothing that's in here that is kind of hiding, and you have to like dig in to get like less you know what's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna call this a medium plus as well.
Yeah.
And then, do you confirm everything that Catherine called out? Is there anything else that screams out at you? Something different?
I just need to correct for the record. Dan was the one who typed in preserved lemon, and I just like, he wrote
Okay.
it, and I was already like, I don't know, buddy.
No, I
Yeah.
mean I get fresh lemon, but I also,
Yeah.
especially on the palate, get preserved
Okay.
lemon. And I think
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
probably right that it's like those lees and stuff that are, calling that to mind. But otherwise, yeah, I think I agree with everything that Catherine said.
Yeah, just yeah. I mean, everything that she called out, I think it's right on the dot here. Honeysuckle, a ton of it. For
Yeah.
me, I get jasmine not on here.
On the like, yeah, the honeysuckle. I mean, I don't know. The jasmine, I think I maybe got more on the nose than on
Yeah.
the palate.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what jasmine smells like, so
What?
And
You gotta go smell jasmine. Jasmine is incredible.
it's like you never went to the body shop as a 12-year-old girl.
I mean,
in the mid 90s.
we talked about this on this wine club. It's like this club has made me realize that I don't really know what flowers smell like.
There you
I
go.
know what honeysuckle smells like. That's kind of the only one, and rose.
Yeah. All right. Well, then now you got to go start sniffing flowers. Stop to smell the flowers. But yeah, all that floral. I get a little bit of this green fruit on the palate, but really mostly the citrus fruit, that lemon, fresh lemon. again, I don't, to me, I don't get preserved lemon. I do get a brininess here. I do get some salinity on this thing. But the fruit quality here is very fresh lemon,
Yeah.
kind of lemon peel, lemon, flesh. I think that this coal of nectarine, maybe stone fruit, I could be convinced into there's some peachy kind of nectarine thing. To me,
Yeah.
this lychee definitely comes through. Lychee still
Yeah.
comes through. No red fruit, black fruit, really fresh, really ripe. This is less of a stemmy thing, like as a like to me, how this expresses on the palate, because this is how I know it's a phenolic thing. There's a if you just watch it, there's ever so slight touch of bitterness on this wine.
Yeah.
It's right towards the end.
I feel like on the nose, I was getting some like eucalyptus, but like I'm not sure. I mean, it's like I know I'm getting something
Yeah,
here at the end, but I'm not sure what that
yeah.
is. I don't get the herbaceousness as much.
Yeah, there's some bitterness that coming through. That's that phenolic bitterness I was telling you about. The Saint Germaine, which is an elderflower that Joe is talking about. I think that's dead on. That's great.
Yeah.
White Welch's grape juice. Muscat often talks about when we're getting Muscat in a blind setting. Muscat is one of the grape varieties that actually tastes great. Like, oftentimes we talk about how like, oh, this tastes like grape. Like wines don't actually taste like grape, right? Like or smell like grape. It just smells like something else. But Muscat is one of those varieties on a blind setting. We actually call it out. Like this actually smells like this.
The oddest fruit not to be on the grid. Grape.
It's
Yeah.
there though. It's there. It's
Yeah.
hidden. It's hidden somewhere. And I remember that I feel like I didn't see it for like
There's
years.
actual grape in here somewhere. Yeah. They're like here. Let me see if I can find it. There is though. There it is on.
And I was like, I
Yeah,
don't know how
in
to
the
take
green fruit.
3
There's actual
years to
grape.
find it.
It's last.
It feels unfair. No, I totally agree. Like after Joe, after you said that, you're totally right. Like that is
Yeah. And Phil, I think you're calling the honey is also great. I think there's definitely something like a honey tone here as well. But more than what, especially on the palate, what I find striking about this wine is there's clearly a lot of different aromas. It's very expressive, very aromatic.
Yeah.
Like all these different things going on. Floral, citrus, stone fruit, tropical, right? Actual grape, some phenolic, some stemmy kind of a thing going on here. So you start with all these really beautifully ripe and expressive fruit and flowers, and then all of a sudden it transitions to just really savory. You get some of these kind of like bitterness. You get some of this like kind of like a cheese rindy, beezy, that Botani thing going on here, the salinity, and then all the like slaty minerality. So like it just kind of takes you through this kind of evolution of a like a evolving finish journey, which is really delicious and which is really nice. But yeah, the only thing that I would add to what Catherine was saying was there's a little salinity to this thing. I get a lot more Botani thing at the end, and then all the slaty thing that comes out. But yeah, Saint Germaine, the grape, honey, I think those are all great calls as well. Finish. How long is the finish?
pretty decent finish. Like
Yeah. Still tasting it. I'll still call this a medium plus as well.
Yeah.
All right, take it on for us. How good is this wine, and who would you age it?
Well, we said the flavor intensity was medium plus. The nose intensity was like medium to medium plus.
Mm-hmm.
Complexity, we called out a lot of primary flavors. Finish was medium plus, so this is like pretty solidly very good, I think.
Yeah, exactly. We're calling it pretty much all landing right in the medium plus intensity, high in the medium, low in the medium plus complexity, a lot of things going on, and squarely in the medium plus length. take average all of that, we're landing pretty much in the medium plus. So yeah, I'll call this very good myself. Would you age this?
I mean, you could because there's some of that acidity there, but
I don't
know
I
what
don't I honestly have no idea what would happen if you aged Moscatel.
Yeah, I also don't have a huge reference point for a very old Moscatel. Like only, I think the oldest Moscatel I've ever had was like maybe 5, maybe 8 years old. But there are some Moscatels that do age. It'll be interesting to see how this wine does. Obviously, it has the acid, right? We call it medium plus acidity. So it's got a good backbone. Also, there's just the phenolics that naturally the Muscat is high in, which is going to help protect the wine. Phenolics are anti-oxidative by quality, chemical quality. So it's going to help protect the wine. So it's got a good backbone. It's got good concentration. We call it medium plus, right? It's already got all this complexity, but as this wine ages, all that fruit is going to turn more into kind of things that Phil's talking about, more of a honey or beeswax, turn into maybe some of like the raisin fruit. So I think it could be interesting. I think
I'm curious, like those savory notes that we get from the Botani, would those become like more pronounced, or what would happen to those? Because I think those add like a really interesting dimension here.
Yeah, I mean, it would evolve. It will continue to also evolve into other things. So you will have that initial Botani kind of an easy kind of a thing going on, but a lot of that could be turning into like mushroom. It could be turning into like a different kind of a more savory flavor. It's not necessarily like the concentration would go up, but it would continue to evolve into different flavors as well. I personally think this would be an interesting wine to see. I'm enjoying it. I think drink this now. I think this wine is drinking beautifully right now with all this freshness and fruit and the balance of all of that. But I do think this is an interesting, it definitely is a good candidate. It's got a good ability, the backbone to age. And I do think with some of that additional savory notes, this could evolve into even more complex. Just because it already has all those savory notes, and it's kind of where we like that part of it, the balance that gives to all this fruit. So maybe having some more of that will make it even better. So I would say, given the acidity, given the phenolics of Moscatel, I don't know, give it 5 years. I mean, I don't think this is going to fall apart anytime soon. Between now and 5 years, but I do think you seeing some tertiary on this thing may be interesting. I may be wrong. Maybe you get there, but
if you're talking mushrooms, I don't know I don't know that.
I don't think it's gonna be mushrooms. I think it's gonna be like honey. Yeah. It's gonna be honey.
That's just, again, these are like the journeys I'm not sure I want to go on.
Yeah. I think this is you're gonna get more honey note, beeswax, and then I think you're gonna get like golden raisins, like sultans, like that kind of. Less so like a savory, like a mushroom. So yeah, so I would personally pick some up and maybe buy like 4 to 6 bottles, drink a couple now, and then leave the rest and just kind of forget about it. And as a hint, I'll give you now, it's also at a price where it's very reasonable for you to pick up 6 bottles and lay some down. So.
Really?
All right. So good job, everyone. So let's play Wow and Then No. First of all, any questions about anything we just went over? Any disagreements about the tasting notes? Anything interesting that you found out?
Yeah, I just had a question about the phylloxera. Did they have to, since it's a root disease, did they have to re-root all those plants?
No. Yep.
Gee.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That was
one disease wiped everything out. Yeah, indeed. So all those the vines that you saw in that video are all regrafted on American rootstock. They were planted in that vineyard was planted. I have it written here between 1908 and 1930, which is definitely after phylloxera. Phylloxera happened in 1880s. So. Yeah, it definitely, the fact that that was planted after that means it was definitely planted on a American rootstock. Any other questions? Did you guys like this one?
Really
Joe,
good.
honestly, I think I'm with you. I think this wine is going to age quite a bit.
Yeah, this wine can hold up for a while. Like,
yeah.
Particularly like for the first time I've had like some white wines that are 30, 20 years aged, and I got to taste some of them, you know, in their modern incarnation. This can hold up, I think. There's just so much going on here. It's
I'm
like
just curious
it wouldn't fall apart. It might plateau for a long time, but like
it's also I'm just curious to whether it's necessarily. I don't think it's going to fall apart. Like I don't think it's going to oxidize anything.
Yeah, it would
turn.
Whether
It's going to be.
It wouldn't thin out and lose its like potency. I think it could be pretty interesting for.
Yeah, I'm just curious. It would be delicious, meaning you know, like to me the freshness here is really delicious. But I do think that some of that kind of tertiary notes here would make it.
I think a lot of that savoriness, that elderflower.
Because we were exactly. We're
body, I mean, like you know, is it that different than you know some big white Burgundy? I don't. It's not that. Right.
It'd be interesting. This would be a really interesting one. I would love to put a few of these down to see how it does. So yeah, did everybody like this one? Did anybody
Delicious.
not like this one?
Delicious.
Yeah. Do you guys usually like muscats?
No, of course not. That was an insane thing to ask. Like, obviously not. That was gonna be my question, was like, do you feel like, is this winery just doing something crazy because they're like, you know, we want to use the traditional grapes, but we want to make them good and not gross. Or is this like going to be part of, or is this like part of the trend, and like we're gonna, I don't know, like
yeah, I mean, definitely the dry wine is the trend overall.
Right.
I mean, the fortified sweet wine sale has been continuously decreasing, going down every year. It's just that it's just out of fashion. Nobody drinks kind of sweet wines anymore. So it is all going in a dry direction for sure.
Okay.
What these guys are doing, obviously they were the first ones to make, and there are people who have followed suit since then. But what they're trying to do is, back in the days, these mountains of Malaga, they made wines this way, but then it all kind of went away with the phylloxera, and also for a period of time when the sweet dessert wines did fared very well, and also there's a part of people who choosing not to or don't want to work in vineyards like that. They're like, fuck that. Like, I'm not going to go there and go up and down those slopes in August in Malaga and, you know, harvest all those things. So, but I hope that this is we're going to see more examples of this rather than just the sweet Muscat juice.
I mean, one question that I have is like more, and again, there's nothing wrong with this, but that, you know, these like, you know, wineries that are doing this like, you know, very, you know, genuinely because of their love of the land and the grapes and the tradition, but also that it's like, these are the things that like will actually sell internationally. Like, you know, is this made for, is this made for the folks in Malaga, or is this made for us? Is like, and I only bring that up because I had like we had a friend over who was from Valencia who was like, there's no orange wine in Spain. You'll never see an orange wine. And of course it's like in America, I'm like, it's like there's Spanish orange wines like all over. We were like tasting one when she was at our house, and she was like, there's no way this came from Spain. And we were like, there's so many that are coming from Spain. And you know, I mean, and again, it's like, I'm just curious that it's like, is this more?
Well, I will say this. When I was in Malaga 2 years ago, I drank quite a bit of dry Muscat.
Okay.
So I did see it in Malaga, in these restaurants. None of it was as good as this one, but they were available. So because there's some domestic demand that's also
Okay.
happening here. But in general, in the wine world, and this is part of like, that's why to me, this is what ties into this month's theme. Like this is not popular style, international,
Right. No one would ever be like, I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. No one's gonna be like, do you have that old world style Muscat from Malaga? Like nobody's gonna ask that. Like no one will ever ask that. But again, like knowing the history, knowing the kind of places where it goes, what kind of work it goes into, how this is made, you make you realize like, holy shit, like why isn't this more popular? Like why aren't more people drinking this and seeking out stuff like this? So there you go.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's play Everybody's favorite game. How much do you think this wine is on a retail shelf? How much you should be happy for this, pay for this on a retail shelf? And not to skew your answer, nor whether you care about this or not, but this wine, the 2022 vintage of this wine, which is what we're having, James Suckling gave it a 94 points, and 2023 vintage, next vintage, the Venus gave it also 94 points. So pretty high ranked points wine, whether that matters. But so how much do you think this wine is on a retail shelf? How much would you be happy for this? Right? Place that nobody really knows about, style that nobody really knows about, but is a very ancient, like it's an ancient history in a bottle. This is the way that these wines have been made here for thousands and thousands of years. So 24, 26, 21, 30, 20, 26, 25, 29. And the winner is Catherine Gaines. This bottle on a retail shelf will be $20. What I'm fucking talking about. Very good wine that's going to age for 10 years, that Joe is saying, for $20. Like, what the fuck? Like, those guys going up and down that slope, picking grapes in the peak of summer heat in August to make a $20 bottle of wine, which means in Spain, this is probably 6 euros, 8 euros. This is not, you're not doing it to make money.
Seem sustainable, but whatever.
Yeah, like it's insane. I mean, Kevin, yeah, you can make an argument. Like, what else is available in that middle of nowhere? If you live out there, you're expensive.
I was like watching him pick that bush. Like, it takes that guy like 20 minutes to pick a bush. Run down to the next one and be like, oh.
Exactly. And like you saw that, like none of that is trellis, and you have to bend down to get it. Like none of it is in a deep row.
My back hurts watching that video.
It is wild. It is wild to think about where this wine comes from and how much this thing costs.
No, but seriously, like $20 here means that you could buy this in a bodega in Malaga for $5, €5. Like,
if even that.
Yeah.
If even that.
Insane.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's like, what? Like, why is this not more popular? Like, I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of stuff that you are like, the mass wine consuming world is just dumb. Like, we're drinking the wrong stuff. Like, this is the kind of stuff.
Can I ask two maybe like broader wine industry question? So like the way that they make this in a very hot place, so like the early, like super early picking and the chilling the grapes beforehand, as wine regions around the world get increasingly hotter every year, like are those things, like would those work for other grapes, or is everybody just going to have to like switch to other varieties? Like, are we going to see it?
Everybody's picking early every year. The chilling is less of the hotness of the place. I mean, it has something to do with that, but it's particularly because it's such an aromatic. They're trying to preserve the aromatics essentially. So when you do pick it, also you usually don't pick it in the middle of the day. They usually pick it like first thing in the morning, like where it's throughout overnight when it's cooler. Untitled Chapter. But yeah, to answer your question, is they're picking early and earlier. Where was I forget. Somebody. Oh, yeah. Dave Burns was just in Mallorca. And he sent me an email and he like visited a producer and he was talking to them and they started picking this year in July harvest, which is fucking insane. Like what? Like who picks grapes in July? But it's like it's been so hot that they're like it's right. Like if we get waiting longer, it's just gonna like sugar's gonna spike up, alcohol's gonna get out of control, we're gonna lose all acidity. We're gonna pick it now, even if perhaps the flavor hasn't fully gotten there, but like yeah, we gotta pick it now. So yeah, he said they start picking in July. Like what? That's outrageous. So yeah, there you go. Any other questions? Did anybody pair
The
this
bottle
one?
says it's dry farm. Does that mean it doesn't rain there? They have no rain?
I mean, it rains, but very little. So it's a Mediterranean climate there, meaning it's very dry in general. Yeah, so there's no irrigation there. Like all those vines that you saw, they're just naturally growing. There's no irrigation whatsoever. Any other questions? Did anybody pair this with anything, just out of curiosity? Anybody do like a coconut milk ceviche of some sort? I think that would be fantastic. Fish tacos or something. I think Thai food would be really exciting with this as well.
We had a coconut curry that I made. It was 3 hours earlier with our 5-year-old. So like
I bet it will go very well with this. You should go get a little bit.
No, it was
Yeah, you should get a little pairing test right now. I bet it would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good point. I bet with like tom yum soups from Galangal, this would be pretty good.
Yeah, this wine's so good. And I say this as somebody who hates Muscat. I hate Muscat. Yeah, I love this wine.
So can you break down the various So this is, you're saying Muscat. It says Moscatel in the bottle. We got Muscadet up in France. How many?
Muscadet is a region,
how many?
not a grape.
How many?
and there's this Moscato too, right?
Yeah, like,
Moscato is Italian. Yeah, so Moscatel is a Spanish for Muscat. Muscat is French, and Moscato is Italian for Muscat. So Muscat as an entire family of grapes. There are many different clones in there. So Muscat de Alexandria is what this one is. There's also Muscat de Autonel, which is a different kind. Also in France, they have Muscat de Petit Grain, which is a small grain Muscat. Those are also eating grapes as well. They eat that quite a bit in France. They also have a larger grain Muscat. So there are all these different clones. And yeah, it's just kind of.
So is that root word kind of connected to all of them a little bit, or is it just sort of?
Wait, say that one more time.
Is the root word musk like kind of connected to all these different varietals?
Yeah, exactly. They're all different clonal.
They're all the same. They're family. They're the same family of grape.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct. But they're all
not related to the capital of Oman in any way.
Correct. They're all a little bit different, but they're all like aromatic expressive varieties. If you ever like eat them, you know when you're eating Muscat, right? Like it's got a very distinctively floral expressive thing. All any other questions? Excellent. Cool.
I have 2 questions that are probably pretty dumb, but hey, we're a small group. So
No such thing, Kev.
I watched the video, it was lovely. How, and based on what you just said with the irrigation, how was there a whetstone flavor when clearly it was the driest of frickin' stones?
I mean, so it's not necessarily the actual. So, for example, Mosul. Sure, it rains a lot more than here. It's not as dry as here, but it's also grown on just slate. It just rots. But it is by river, so to your point, there's a source of water there. But it is not necessarily the place has to be wet for it to get that kind of sensation, the minerality. And exactly how the minerality ends up in the wine is one of the big mysteries of the wine world. Like nobody can exactly pinpoint. Like for example, just because it grew on a slate does not mean the wine's going to taste like slate. Just because it grew in a granite, it's going to taste like actual granite. It's more of like they all have different mineral profile to the wine. So yeah, it's not necessarily that it's dry, that it should be like dirt, not
Got it.
rocks. Yeah.
I guess I get that with other things, but for some reason with the rock, I feel like it has to be more
Yeah.
direct. But okay. And my second question is, I thought Moscato was like exclusively a really syrupy sweet dessert wine that I avoid.
Moscato is an Italian word for Muscat, but also Moscato is the stylistic kind of a wine that they make. It's exactly what you're describing. Very sweet, slightly fizzy and bubbly, oftentimes. Yeah. And for most occasions, yes, you should avoid Moscato because it is fucking terrible. But like a lot of things, many things, when you do come across an actual good Moscato, it's actually delightful. It's quite nice. It's like low ABV, it's a little sweet, not over the top, like cloyingly sweet. It's got enough acidity to balance it all out. It's actually a fantastic brunch beverage, but oftentimes what you find in a supermarket and a grocery aisle is not that. It is pumped full of sugar, actual sugar. It's not just sugar from the grape, but like actual sugar dumped in there just to make it even sweeter. Yeah, but if you they do exist when you find an exceptional, well-made Moscato, it's actually just.
I have not had one, but maybe one day.
Yeah, it's delicious. Honestly. Yeah, Alba is a region in Moscato di Alba, and then a region there in Italy that make a lot of it. Asti is another place, Moscato di Asti, another place in Italy, all in northern Italy. Any other questions? And honestly, I think that, now that you mention it, Catherine, Moscato is a reason I think a lot of Americans get turned off of Moscato. Because people just associate it immediately with Moscato. They're like, fuck, I don't want to drink that.
Yeah, I literally have been avoiding everything that remotely sounds like it. So Muscadet, all of these, I have not. You see it on the menu, and it's like, why is that?
Generally,
That was kind of my point in asking. I'm like, what's the how do you differentiate this shit?
I know exactly. Like these guys don't stand a chance, right? Like
Yeah.
we're all like, you know what your safe spaces are, what your not safe spaces are,
Yeah.
and why would I know that this is one of the good guys?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. No. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately most of Muscat that's made out there is, has some RS on it. And not that RS is a bad thing, but oftentimes there's made just for the sake of making it sweet, just to make it palatable and approachable, without any kind of a acid balance. There's no balance to it. So just like a very sweet, it's like soda. But yeah, I guess just like you got to do your homework on a producer, or You know, if you had some shop or restaurant, ask people like, is this a dry muscat? Is this does it have RS on it? Yeah, you gotta investigate a little further with the muscat because even the dry muscat that exists out there, oftentimes, I don't even like those. Just because they're just been hung too long. They're picked too late, so it's just like so floral and over the top with no acidity and no liveliness, and it's just and oftentimes really hot, really high in alcohol. So it also seems out of balance. So yeah, it's unfortunately it's a hard thing to yeah, you won't know just by looking at the label. You just gotta do your homework or ask questions. But now you know to ask those questions. So good. Any other questions?
We're in like the middle of like a small hurricane here in DC. So
Yeah, I'll be getting lit up. I was actually looking at your camera. I'm like, are you getting the same lightning flash?
yeah, I know.
Oh yeah.
I think our CCD sampling rate is a little too slow to catch.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm on the floor with a shaking dog.
Oh, does he have a thunder vest?
No, it's a new development, quite honestly. Yes, from July 4th, and now it's all the storms, which of course are nearly daily.
Oh, Catherine. So yeah. So my dog Speedo is going through the same shit ever since 4th of July. This happened last year. I don't remember it taking this long, but he won't even go out. Like when we go outside, he would maybe walk half a block, if that, and then just like sits down and just will not move.
Yeah,
we've been-
she's pretty similar, and it's crazy. I mean, she's almost 8 years old. I've only had her for almost 3 years, but she's not been afraid until recently. So
It is sort of inconvenient that that 4th of July lines up with just like, it's like freaks everybody out. And then, or like all the dogs and the kids or whatever. And then it's like a series of thunderstorms. Like that's when you're like
Yeah.
enter thunderstorm season, right? Like,
thunderstorms,
Yeah.
and then it's like the night you think you're clear, and then it's like the freaking neighborhood fireworks.
Oh,
All of a
yeah.
sudden. They'll get you anytime.
Yeah, and living in Colombia in the south now, it's like you know the storm can just come out of nowhere. So we're just out like taking the dog, and all of a sudden like a little growling thunder will come in, and like dog will get freaked out and like turn around and like start running the other way.
Oh.
I don't know what to do. Like we've given him trazodone, but that hasn't solved the issue. So yeah, if you find a solution, Catherine, let me know because I'm dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, I am new to it, so I got to try the thunder vest or whatever. I got to try all the things. We'll see.
Yeah, my dog is not even like peeing and pooping because he's not going outside. So we end up, and it's also weird. Like it's just that when we go outside the house, but if you go a block away, he's kind of okay. So lately, for the last takeout of the night, we've been loading up in the car and driving a block, literally a block, just so the dog can pee before and poop before going to bed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been fucking wild.
No.
Yeah.
well, we had to give my 5-year-old some melatonin to go to sleep tonight because she is also now has like a debilitating fear of thunderstorms that sort of like is a somewhat of a new development. And has also been now she like doesn't want to go to summer camp and like doesn't want to like be outside and like walk outside because she like knows that thunderstorms can happen now. And, like 'cause it's like the summer and they just like are around.
Oh no.
Sometimes you have to drug the kids and the dogs that we love. So
Yeah, it's well also I realize I've recorded